Optasia Superyacht. What if I told you there's an 85-meter superyacht that looks like classic med glamour on the outside, but hides a design decision that quietly changes how 12 people actually live on board for a week? Stay with me until the end. I'll reveal the single feature that explains why Optasia feels less like a floating trophy and more like a private, stress-proof resort, one that keeps guests happier, crew pacing lower, and charters sold out. Overview. Optasia is an 85-meter flagship from Golden Yachts, launched in 2018 and refreshed in 2024. She wears the clean, confident lines of Studio Vaffiati's, the Italian studio known for dialing down visual noise and turning scale into serenity. In person, the boat reads like a grown-up sanctuary. Generous terraces, real headroom, and thoughtful transitions so your day flows. Sea, swim, spa, dinner, without the awkward stop-starts that plague flashier builds. Under the paint and teak, she's full-displacement steel with an aluminum superstructure, the classic big boat recipe for stable passages, and a hush you can feel in your feet. I've walked plenty of large yachts that impress at the dock, but get fussy at sea. Optasia carries herself like she's been doing this forever. The mission profile is simple: extended family cruising at the very top end. That means a true owner's domain, a VIP that's not a consolation prize, 8 more cabins that don't feel like afterthoughts, and a service choreography that stays invisible when the calendar's full. If your metric for luxury is how little friction you feel in a long week, this platform is the syllabus. Key features. Start at water level, because that's where Optasia wins hearts. The beach club isn't just pretty stone and lounges, it's a whole waterside lifestyle with spa zones that make "let's head back to the cabin" sound like a downgrade. A pool crowns the sun deck, so sunsets turn into rituals, not interruptions. A touch-and-go foredeck helipad handles seamless arrivals and last-minute dinner runs, and a central elevator ties the verticals together, so grandparents and sleepy kids move like VIPs. Inside, the design vocabulary is warm and modern, without tipping into nightclub lighting or museum stiffness. You notice quiet, HVAC, forgiving acoustics, and the kind of light management that keeps everyone photo-ready late into the evening. Guest logic matters. Optasia carries up to 12 guests in 10 cabins, a full-beam owner's suite that plays like a private apartment, a genuine VIP with its own cinema lounge so the B-plot of your trip can run in parallel, 6 additional doubles that don't feel like economy, and 2 smart twins to keep family configurations flexible. The crew complement sits just shy of 30, which is the sweet spot for anticipatory service across this footprint. Toys are curated, not chaotic, and tender ops happen with minimal theater. You'll feel it on day 2 when everything just works. Key specifications. Let's anchor the numbers you'll quote back to friends. Length overall is roughly 85 meters, or about 279 feet. Beam is a confident 13.8 meters, call it 45 feet. So exterior dining and side deck circulation stay generous. Draft sits near 3.6 meters, which keeps more anchorages on the menu than you'd expect at this length. Volume is in the low 2,300-plus gross tons. That's real house volume translated into privacy pockets and acoustic headroom. Power comes from a pair of big diesels that deliver a top speed brushing the high teens to around 20 knots, with an easygoing cruise in the mid-teens. Range? Think ocean crossing comfort, with 5-figure nautical mile potential at efficient displacement pace, which is a fancy way of saying you chase seasons, not fuel docks. On paper, those numbers look like a checklist. In real life, they translate into itinerary freedom, civilized nights, and the confidence to promise your guests yes instead of we'll see when weather or timing gets pushy. Exterior experience. Walk the main deck aft, and you'll catch the resort DNA immediately. Shaded lounges that don't rob the dining table of its view, rail heights that keep you secure without boxing in the horizon, and side decks that maintain width even at the pinch points where less thoughtful builds make you play single file. Crew choreography is clean. Boarding, tender ops, water sports staging, so guests feel the theater but not the traffic. Up top, wind management is tuned so an underway lunch isn't a napkin rodeo, and furniture sits level without wedge blocks because the build tolerances are what you pay for at this tier. The foredeck helipad is more than bragging rights. It's a schedule weapon. When the helicopter puts you on the bow, and a minute later you're descending into a quiet salon, you understand why owners bake this into the brief. It's also the reason last-minute dinner reservations in Capri or a discreet guest change in Nice doesn't unravel your day. Interior atmosphere. Step inside and notice what you don't see. No over-busy patterns trying to scream expensive. No glass mazes that feel fragile. The palette is modern and tactile. The furniture invites you to live, not hover. And the lighting strategy layers warm, flattering pools that turn nights into scenes without turning spaces into sets. America loves the word livable. Here, it's not a cliché. It's the whole point. You can spread out laptops and books in the salon without feeling like you're breaking a rule. You can walk barefoot from spa to cinema without hitting an acoustic dead zone. The house systems never perform for you. They serve you. That VIP cinema lounge I mentioned is a quiet masterstroke. It lets families and friend groups run multiple storylines at once, without fighting for the same square footage. Someone wants a late-night movie? Someone else wants a quiet read? No one has to compromise. That's design maturity, performance and range. Underway, Optasia is a big-shouldered cruiser that finds her groove in the mid-teens. At efficient displacement speed, she turns into a traveling hotel where the white noise of the waterline and the low-vibration hull make sleep feel like a spa treatment. Ask for more pace to beat weather around a headland, and she answers without drama. Stabilization logic neuters the kind of anchorage shimmy that makes stemware anxious. It's the difference between we anchored and we slept. After years of testing, I'll take civilized mid-teens all day over brochure brag top speed you never use. Ownership, charter reality, and money. Let's talk money like adults. Replacement value logic for a Northern European class flagship of this size is well into 9 figures, but what owners actually feel is the annual rhythm. Crew, maintenance cycles, insurance, fuel, soft goods, berthing, logistics. Add it all, and you're deep into 8 figures a year when you operate at the standards this footprint deserves. That number can sound abstract until you remember what it buys. Time, privacy, and a hard-to-photograph calm your guests will remember more than any chandelier. On the charter side, Optasia sits squarely in the top tier. Weekly base rates run in the neighborhood of €900,000, translating to roughly $1 million depending on the season and currency wins, plus expenses. That's not a mistake. It's a filter. The client saying yes to that number is buying certainty, a layout that works for 12, a spa and beach club that actually get used, and a service envelope tuned to feel invisible. If luxury is the absence of friction, the rate sheet starts making emotional sense on day one. A day in the life on board. Picture a late morning swim straight from the beach club. A quick steam and massage that feels like your own wellness annex. Then a tender hop that doesn't turn into a wardrobe hazard because crew staging is crisp. Lunch under shade, with a horizon that never gets interrupted by fussy rails. Nap in a suite where the climate hushes itself. Golden hour on the sun deck pool as the sky and water agree on the same color temperature. Dinner on the upper deck that lingers because the noise floor stays low enough to hear people, not hardware. A movie in the VIP cinema for one group. A quiet nightcap in the salon for another. That's not a dream day. That's a Tuesday when the platform's engineered right. Comparisons that clarify. Viewers always ask, how does she stack up? Think of three axes: volume, performance, and livability. There are bigger volume monsters that dominate harbors, and there are lighter, faster toys that win over helicopters and headlines. Optasia plays a subtler game. She's the weak winner. She gives up a little theater to trade for human-scale flow, acoustic discipline, and service geometry that makes 12 guests feel seen without being staged. If you've watched our jet showdowns, this is the move from loud spec sheet to quiet cabin that actually restores you. A quick reality check. Most owners and charterers don't remember their top speed. They remember the dinner that never raised voices and the night they slept like kids. Key specifications. Optasia measures about 85 meters overall with a 13.8-meter beam and a draft near 3.6 meters. Her internal volume sits a touch above 2,340 gross tons. She's steel below, aluminum above, and carries 10 guest cabins for up to 12 guests, supported by a crew of just under 30. Amenities include a full beach club complex, a sun deck pool, a central elevator, a gym, spa and wellness zones, a VIP cinema lounge, and a touch-and-go foredeck helipad. Expect a top speed touching the high teens to around 20 knots and an effortless cruise in the mid-teens, with ocean crossing range at efficient displacement speed. Money talk. Budget the annuals in the 8 figures. If you keep her at the standard, the footprint deserves. Crew, technical cycles, fuel, insurance, soft goods, and big boat logistics included. Charter base rates live around 900,000 euros per week, roughly $1 million depending on the month and FX, plus expenses. In return, you get the kind of platform that converts square footage into genuine calm and time together, which, when you think about it, is what all the zeros were for. My take. I've filmed showier yachts, and I've tested faster ones. Optasia's magic is quieter. She feels like a promise kept. The lines don't chase fads. The spaces respect how people move. The engineering pays you back at 2 in the morning when the anchorage rocks and the glasses don't. If you're chasing the loudest profile shot on Instagram, there are other boats. If you want a week that restores you and a layout your family will actually use, this is the shortlist pick. And yes, I'd swap my first apartment for that VIP cinema for a month. Kidding. Mostly. Final reveal. Here's the design decision I teased. The combination of a true, guest-usable beach club ecosystem and a vertical circulation plan that treats every generation like a VIP. That pairing is the hidden luxury you can't capture in a spec sheet. It's why grandparents join the swim instead of watching from a sofa. Why kids float from spa to movie without getting lost. And why dinners feel like home instead of a production. It's also why charters come back. On Optasia, the easiest spaces to use are the ones you actually want to be in. And that's the secret sauce no drone shot can explain. Engagement and support. If this deep dive gave you a new way to look at big boat luxury, hit subscribe so YouTube brings you our next premiere automatically. Tell me in the comments, would you trade a knot of top speed for the kind of beach club and helipad flow that buys you time back? I'm featuring the sharpest answer next episode. For members-only polls, behind-the-scenes shipyard notes, and early access, tap Join on the channel page. And if this video made your day, drop a super thanks. Your highlighted comment powers the next investigation and gets a shout-out on screen.